Have you ever seen a profile picture upload turn into a server hack or a server attack? Someone uploads an image just like this and immediately your server goes all crazy. So in this video, we are building a bulletproof image upload system in PHP that even the sneakiest hackers can get past. These are, in this video, we'll achieve three different things. We'll stop all all fake JPEG files that are actually malicious PHP shells. Hackers use JPEG files that to carry their payloads to your system. And then we'll stop also massive images that can crash your server. Let's say someone wants to upload just an image, but it's just it's 20 MB plus. That's not normal for an image. Or maybe someone sends an image to your server and overwrites all the other users' photos, all the other images that were on your directory. One of them gets destroyed. So I'll show you how to validate images in the right way and re-encode and resize them to strip malware and store them safely outside the web root. Don't store them in your current directory, sorry. And then we'll add the CSRF protection that will help secure the communication between the browser and your server. So with that said, let's jump to the code directly. So in front of me, I have a very basic form. This actually, it's just a normal HTML and CSS form. So let me show you how it looks like. It looks like this. You just upload an image, and here is the source code. So it's just a normal HTML, nothing crazy about it. So, and then I have this config file and upload.php file. These are the files that we'll be using to create this video and to verify, to secure your data, your image upload. So the first thing that we need to do here now, after creating this image, it can look this document type. You can use it the way you want. You can create your own, or maybe I'll leave this source code in my GitHub. You'll just check it out. So the first thing that we need to create here is a session. But first, before we create a session, what we'll do is we'll declare strict type. Strict types is set to 1. This means if I request for an integer, I don't expect a string. I want it to be exact integer, not a string. So that this is what the declare strict types means. And then we'll start our session just like that. I have a very cool auto completion feature here, so you can just add it in your extension in Visual Studio Code. So the next thing that we need to do is check for a CSRF token session if it exists. This helps communication between the browser and the server. If we check if it exists, that means if an attacker can't create the CSRF token on their own, it has to check if the session exists actually. So what we'll do here, we'll create a very secure CSRF token. So I'll say if empty, like that. Oh, it's code, it's an auto completion. So what this really means, I won't be using CSRF token. Let me just use CSRF for easier remembrance. Maybe if you use the underscore token, it will be hard for me to remember. So these are, we create a very secure CSRF token here that's auto-generated using the binary to hexadecimal encryption here. So after creating these, we'll go to declaring this token as a $sign token, and we'll give it the value of that session. That way, that means we'll always be just calling this token instead of just $sign session underscore SRF. So in your form, I need you to add this input type hidden, add use the name as CSRF. This is what will be storing the CSRF session in your form on every upload. That's why we'll be using it as a hidden. That means an attacker won't be able to create their own CSRF token because it will always be pre-uploaded during the form upload. So and then give it a value of these just the HTML special characters just to escape the special characters, and then the token and these and the end quotes. So the next thing that we need to do after creating these this index.php, the next thing that we need to create is the config file. So what the config file does, it keeps all upload settings. It's the central point of your upload. It keeps all the settings in one place. That means all your security won't be scattered around your code in the same file as index.php. It will be very secure in this config file, and it will be easier to maintain and give new features and updates and everything. So first thing that we do, as always, we open the PHP tags, and then the next thing we do is declare the strict types, like explained before what this does. And then the next thing that we need to do is we create the absolute path where the file is this file is stored. So what we do here is as in root will be equals to this $sign directory. Then the next thing that we need is $sign storage. $sign storage will be equals to $sign root dot directory separator dot storage. Storage like that. What it means, this creates a path to a folder called storage. I'll show you how this one will be created inside your project. So the next thing that we need to upload is we create a temporary place for files before we check them. After a user uploads their image, it should be installed temporarily before we process it. So how to do that? We'll say assign equals to assign storage, but these won't be uploads, but it will be uploads underscore raw, because we are creating raw images. That's when then let's change this one to uploads raw. So the next thing that we need to create is the final safe place where after we clean the image and re-encode them, where they will be stored, where exactly they will be stored. So to do that, just say $sign upload will be equals to $sign storage. and then uploads like that. So these are the directory that after cleaning and re-encoding the image, whether it will be JPEG or PNG or WebP file, where it will be finally stored after processing. So let's create an if statement here. So I'll create for each because I want to check if these three directories exist. So to do that, I'll use a for loop for each loop. For each. All right, let me see whether the auto completion is clear, but no, it's not. The lesson storage. The lesson approach. No, it's like this. Sometimes the auto completion can lead you astray, so don't always depend on it. So and then $sign another directory is $sign uploads. I'm so used to underscores, I don't know why. So these are an array of these three directories. For each of these directories as $sign directory. So it checks all these directories. So if is not this directory, which our directory we've named SDR, DIR, this one, the $sign DIR, and is non-make directory. That means if it also can't write this directory or create these directories, what it will do is this. This is how we create the directories if they don't exist. So if we find the directories don't exist, we give them what do we call it? We just create them. If they don't exist, we make other directories. So and then if all this fails, we just say we throw a new runtime exception, and it will say fail to create directory. So the next thing that we need to do is return all the settings as an array. So let's create the settings and the restrictions that we want our images to have. So the first thing we need to create is a return because in this config file we just want to return the results, not after processing the image. We just need to return the results to this upload file, upload.php file. So to do that, let's say first thing that we need to check is the maximum allowed file size, because we don't want images past maybe 5 MB, because an image that's bigger than 5 MB is so big. That means that's not a normal image. We want to compress the image. We want a smaller image to avoid huge images from being stored in your server. So the first thing that we need to check is the maximum bytes. So in my case, I'll use just 5 MBs. That means it's 5 times 1024 times 1024. We know that 1 MB is equivalent to 1024 kilobytes, right? So The next thing that we need to check is the maximum width. Let's say maximum underscore width. I'll keep it to 2000. And then the next thing that we need to check is the maximum height. I'll also keep it to 2000. If the width will be bigger than 2000, that means our system will automatically compress it to a smaller width and a smaller height, or smaller dimensions. And then the next thing that we need to do is check for allowed file extension or types, that we call it extensions like JPEG, PNG, WebP, JFIF, and all of them, maybe GIF if you want, but I want it to keep it tied to JPEG and PNG and WebP files. So here I'll say allowed extensions, just like that. I'll keep it to JPEG, PNG, and WebP files. And then the next thing that we'll do is we'll double check the file type based on MIME type, not just the extension. We'll also check the MIME type. MIME type means maybe someone could rename something like let's say virus.php and rename it to cat.jpg. What we need to do is check whether the MIME type, whether it's a JPEG or another file that has been renamed to a JPEG file. So to check that, we check allowed MIMEs. Maybe you have a different how you pronounce these the MIMEs. I just say MIMEs. I don't know whether it's the right pronunciation or not, but it's not about pronunciation here. So we need to check whether it's a JPEG, whether it's a PNG or it's a WebP. So I can just do like that. So I want us every time after uploading an image, we want it to be a WebP file. That means it's our web-based file. That means it's smaller in size and it's secure. WebP file is so secure and so smaller in size. That means even your website doesn't have to load for longer times. It will be easier to load your your images, and the load time when you do it is in page insight. It will be very fast. So the next thing that we need to do is convert this into WebP file. What we'll do is output format. We'll set it to WebP. As you can see, the auto completion just says output format. It's converted to WebP for efficiency. That means your website will be secure and faster. And then we'll keep the quality of the image to 80 to 85 for easier. I'll set mine to 82. Let's say an example. This is the compression quality so that it doesn't lose the entire quality. That means if an image is so big, let's say like 3 MB, it will be compressed to something like 24 KB. That's easier and lighter for your entire website. And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to use the upload slow. What this means, these are the actual paths to our raw and final folders so the rest of the app knows where to put files. So this is what we created in the first place. This is the row. This is the row where we'll store our raw data, and here is where we'll store our final image after processing using these methods. So this is what will tell the other system, which is the upload.php file, where to store the image. So what we do here is I'll say uploads raw will be equals to uploads raw, and this one will be equals to this. And then with that, I'll just terminate this. So what this does, it's like the settings. It's like when you say maybe something like, let me give you an example, vivid example, so maybe you might understand. When you say, let's say, maybe include once or require once, something like maybe vendor. See, vendor autoload like .php. These are the files that most people use, maybe for PHP mailers, maybe for something like what do we call them? Whichever, so many usages for autoload.php. So these will act, our config file will act as the settings that we use maybe in autoload.php, but for our case we don't need the autoload.php. So guys, for this video, so that it can't be long, I'll cut it here, and then I'll see you in the next video when I'll be explaining how to upload uh, these to upload the file using these settings, the, the settings that we created, and you'll see the images that we'll upload will be compressed, they'll be faster and everything. So that's all for this video. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, and maybe follow us, and or subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and we'll appreciate. And I'll see you guys on the next.